everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Bisportuals, your new favorite sports podcast. I am your host, Ryan.
I'm Cameron.
And I'm Kyle.
Boy, it has been a dramatic week and weekend in sports. UConn, Paige Beckers,
Let's go.
Thrashed South Carolina. Whooped them. Not even
It was gorgeous.
Particularly close. It was a brutal beatdown that the Minnesota native put on South Carolina. Crazy.
Big time.
You know
dub.
a stat I saw? The UConn women's basketball head coach in finals games is 12-1.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the
pretty
only
good.
loss was to Don Staley.
Yeah. That program is that really is that's the two powerhouse women's college basketball programs. It's UConn and South Carolina. They're crazy. They're more blue bloods than any of the men's franchises since Duke.
Yeah, the real true dynasties of college basketball
is women's UConn and women's South Carolina. They own the sport.
Because Iowa has retired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, shout out Caitlin. Big fans over here.
Shout out.
But yeah,
she's ripped now.
Yeah.
You know, and talking about women's basketball and of course the WNBA as opposed to the MNBA, but the NBA.
Wait, while we're on the WNBA, fuck the Liberty. I don't think I've gotten to say that yet on this podcast. Fuck the Liberty.
I agree. Fuck the
It has
New
been
York
said,
Liberty.
and it should be said again. Fuck the Liberty.
Fake championship.
Fake
championship. They bought
fake.
it.
They paid for
was
bought
no
and paid
foul. No foul whatsoever.
Foul. Well, hey, that just leads into
the
WNBA draft and the Lynx trading the farm for the number one pick to get Paige Beckers, bring her home. Even if they don't, she's coming back in 3 years once her contract expires. I can't wait. That jersey's going to sell.
Yeah, but I also kind of like our team now.
I do like our team.
I don't know how much.
But imagine Paige on that team. It'd be
electric.
No,
I think she's going to be a Dallas wing.
Fuck the future, win now.
I want
Fuck them
a ring.
picks. Stan Kroenke style.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to the WNBA, I mean, we could talk about that for a whole podcast. But a lot of media now. The WNBA has seen a lot more media presence, especially since last year. Of course, the whole storyline with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and everything like that. But what happens, and I think the WNBA is starting to see this when you get more media presence and you get more prominence in society, is that sometimes it becomes difficult to tell exactly what is real sports journalism and news and headlines and what is a shitpost. Someone fucking with you. Sometimes you see Shams Charania, and sometimes you get Barry McCockernerd. Sometimes you do. That's a throwback reference there. But
the OG.
I believe.
Shout out Butt Crack Sports.
Ball Sack Sports.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
No,
Butt Crack Sports.
Those are two. They both exist.
Yeah.
But to help, and I'm not, as your omnipotent host of this show, along with my co-hosts, when I get and prepare a lot of the material for this show, sometimes, I'll be honest, sometimes I get misled. Sometimes I get tricked. Sometimes one could say I even get Centelled. So my friend and co-host Kyle has put together a game to help me get better. And Cameron as well. To help us get better.
I'm already really good.
So, Kyle, do you want to introduce the game to our dear viewers?
Oh, why, thank you. Of course, I would love to introduce this game. This is a classic one that everybody has played all the time, forever and ever, called Centel versus Centel. If you are unaware, there are two Twitter accounts, or X the Everything app accounts, you could say. One is called NBA Central. That is a legitimate news source that speaks about happenings in the NBA, sometimes the WNBA, but mainly the NBA and its players. NBA Centel is not a legitimate news source and loves to misinform the public. They have been on a generational run over these past couple months of misinforming and misleading either fans the uninitiated, everybody in the general public, they have been doing some phenomenal things in spreading misinformation. So in the spirit of April Fools that has recently passed, we wanted to celebrate and try and decipher 8 different posts from both of these accounts. And so I'm going to have Ryan and Cameron determine which account these posts came from. So I did my best to hide any identifying information to the accounts, but just purely show the posts here of what was said. It may be a quote, it may be a picture, it may be a video, a little bit of everything to really get down to the brass tacks of misinformation.
A little bit of everything app, if you will.
You could say that. It does match our theme for X.
That I don't know why that got me. That was the stupidest thing. Not even like well thought out. Just the negative energy. Like not even the balls to say it into the mic with the platform. Just be like, you could say it was a little bit of the everything out.
You were ashamed to say it.
As you should be.
Yep.
When I press the mute button on my microphone and X pops up.
Way to go. That would have been better. That would have been so much better to say. Why didn't you say that?
I just said them both.
Hey,
you shouldn't have said the first one.
Cameron's going quantity over quality.
Yeah, that happens more often than not.
That one can make the bits bracket. It's okay.
I can't wait to see the Bisportuals bits bracket. All right. I am going to share my screen, and we are going to go through all 8 of these photos. So to start us off, I can read it out for our audio listeners. I don't know how many we have left. This post says, Bradley Beal says the Phoenix Suns can still make a run. Quote, we still can make a run. Obviously, we've got to be healthy, get healthy, be available. The playoffs, anything can happen, man. But we're a talented team and believe in what we can do. We've just got to give ourselves that opportunity. So, is this Central versus Centel? Once we determine, or once my co-hosts have their answer, I'm going to count down from 3, and we're going to say it at the same time.
I've got it.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Central.
Oh my God, you're both correct. This is Central.
Wow.
This is a legitimate post.
Okay.
Way to go, guys. 1 for 1 to get us rolling. All right. Clearly, I was hoping to lead you astray on this one because I do not believe that the Phoenix Suns can make a run. But that's just me. All right. On to number 2.
I think Kevin Durant's ever going to win another playoff series.
Exactly. So right on to number 2. The NBA
There's a classic. There's a classic.
Reportedly scheduled. Reportedly, this is a report. The validity of it, we don't know yet. The NBA has reportedly scheduled a mandatory vasectomy for Anthony Edwards due to his high volume activity outside the court, per league sources. So, guys, you got to tell me, is this Central or is this Centel? I'm hoping you both have your answers because I'm counting down on the way from 3, 2, 1.
Centel.
Oh my God.
Centel classic right here.
Yep. Generational run that Anthony Edwards is on right now. So
18 years up front.
Yep, just an easy 2 mil. Easy 2 mil for him, which is insanity.
He really said, I don't want to see the kid again. I don't want to see either of you.
He does not give a shit about that woman.
He does not, and I don't blame him.
Isn't that
what do you mean?
Wasn't that woman?
Wait,
what?
I thought
wasn't there a report that
was
came out that she was like a serial baby mama?
Yes, that's the one because she baby trapped. Was it Little Baby?
Little Baby.
Yeah.
So she's just a generational.
Little Baby is her baby.
Yeah, and now those two are Eskimo bros,
and
just like all of us. All right, next prompt.
What?
What? No,
I'm kidding. See, misinformation. You have to be ready for it. You got to be listening and paying attention. So this next.
I think you need help.
Yeah.
I apologize. I sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, apologize for my actions. Just like
I think you
believe
need
Stephen A. Smith.
Hims.com.
We need sponsors, please. Anything.
Hims.com.
I don't think it would have. I'll be honest. Unless they pay me, then it would have. All right.
Sponsored
next.
by Brazzers.
No, god damn it.
No,
We were on
we're not
such a
doing
run.
this. All right. Next post. This is a quote from Stephen A. Smith to Ja Morant. I am pleading with Ja as a gangster. Stop this. In reference to his continued gun gestures on the court. All right. Do we have our answers?
I have my
I think
answers.
so.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Centel.
You both said Centel? You
Yes.
guys would both be correct. Way to go.
Okay.
Stephen A. Smith.
I was thinking like Stephen A. Smith would say some shit like this, but I don't think he said this.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Stephen A. Smith has had a wild couple months here, so I was hoping that would throw you off. All right,
He's been too busy saying he's gonna beat the shit out of LeBron.
yeah, he has other pressing matters than Ja Morant, which is pressing up on LeBron James in person. All right, this next post says Marcus Morris Sr. says Steph Curry is not the most feared player in the NBA, and he would take Kawhi Leonard over him, and particularly has the eyes emoji at the end here. This also, I will mention, link to a video, but I could not record the video, so I apologize for not including it. All right. Are we ready? All right. 3, 2, 1.
Central.
Oh, you guys are on fire. You are 4-4-4. Yes, this was
If it was Centel, it would not have been like.
It would have. It would have
wouldn't
been
have
like
been a
Max
tier
Christie.
1 player.
It would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just such a wild take to have.
I
would
just
take
can't
Luis-
see Centel posting something like that.
He would take Gui Santos over him, or Brandon Pajemski, just some other Warriors guard.
It would be wild. All right, next post here.
This is a fucking essay.
Yeah, this is a hefty one here. This is a hefty one. So I'll try to read through this one quick. I don't blame everybody.
Reading glasses.
I don't blame our listeners for jumping this into 2 times speed, so I apologize. A document from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security indicates that Chicago Bulls jerseys and Jordan Brand tattoos or shoes can help identify members of a Venezuelan gang, per sources. Neither the Chicago Bulls nor Nike have publicly commented on a document released last week via court filing that lists their uniforms and sneakers as a way to identify members of a Venezuelan gang targeted for deportations. The Trump administration has been using the Alien Enemies Act to deport or forcibly relocate dozens of people suspected of being part of the I can't say that out loud gang. Some of the active asylum seekers. Yeah, I was going to butcher it, so I appreciate the assist. And again, this was via some sources here. And also a generational photo here as well.
Wait, hold up. This is tough.
No, I think I know this, and I know the reason why this.
Okay, I think I have a guess.
3, 2, 1.
Centel.
Wait, okay, so Ryan said Centel. Cam, what did you say?
Centel.
You are both wrong. This is an NBA Central post. This is a legitimate post.
Yeah.
I saw this
I thought this was going to be based on the guy who got sent to the prison, who was like wrongfully deported, and the Supreme Court is like blocking the decision to bring him back or whatever.
Yeah,
that guy, he was wearing a Bulls hat, and that's one of the reasons why they took him.
I'm going to be totally honest. I thought it might have been. I thought it was Centel because I thought in reality it was some team other than the Bulls.
No, that guy got
I thought
arrested
it was like
while
Spurs
wearing
jerseys.
a Bulls hat.
I think the main reason that the
Like
Bulls were associated with it was just because of Jordan.
Big Wemby fans.
Yeah, no.
No, they're actually
this is a
huge
legitimate
Wemby
post.
fans.
Oh, really? That's good to know.
Yeah.
They're big fans there, along with the big women. Shout out to Chuck for that take for San Antonio.
Barkley.
Galveston, Texas.
Charles
No,
Barkley.
that's San Antonio. Galveston, Texas is dirty water.
Yep.
But yes,
I've
this is
been there.
a legitimate post. I did not actually read the article here, but clearly they're, in the current day and age that we're in, it shouldn't be surprising at this point. All right. Number 6. Kyrie Irving is in serious discussions with Nike to relaunch his signature shoe line. The brand is open to a fresh start, and Kyrie is ready to build something new. All right. Do we have our answers?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. No, wait. Hold up. No. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
All right. On 3, 2, 1.
Central.
Okay. Ryan said Central. Cam, what'd you say?
Yeah, Central.
2 Centrals. We've been in unison on every guess so far.
Yeah.
And I love that for you guys. I just unfortunately have to inform you that you're both wrong again. This is Centel.
What?
This
That
is
seems
such
too
a
tame.
such a weak Centel tweet. That was I was thinking like, no, they'd make
Look,
a bigger
I'm not going to make this
out of
easy
it
for
than
you
that,
guys.
right?
I'm not going to make this easy for you guys. Misinformation is hard to
Damn it.
identify, especially when you don't have any of the key details to see if it's misinformation or not, like their username. All right. On to number 7.
Well, yeah, it's just so tame.
Yeah. It's, again, pretty... it's a heavy world that we live in. You got to be on guard all the time. All right, post number 7. This is also a video. Again, I cannot record it, but it's a very simple caption of the Timberwolves and Pistons fight with the shocked, like scared emoji and the popcorn emoji.
Nas Reed looks like a fish in that frame.
I tried to catch the most tame frame of this, so I'm glad that you pointed that out for me.
Well, his head is in motion and he looks like
Yeah,
a fish. What kind of
I can
fish
see-
would Nas Reed be?
I think he's like a guppy.
I don't know. Shark.
What do you think?
I think he would be an anglerfish.
That's a
I don't know. His
that's a unique
dreads
one.
kind of give that vibe.
Fair. I see. Here's my concern with this tweet. Right, is that I don't know if the video is actually just video of the fight or if it's some other bullshit that they like starts the beginning of the fight and then once the fight actually breaks out, is it just cuts to some other shit?
I know the answer, so
Yeah,
All right.
it's a tough
I
place
think
to
I
be
have
in,
a
Ryan.
guess.
Okay.
Think I have a
All
guess.
right. On 3, 2, 1.
Central.
Centel.
Okay,
Disagree.
so Cameron said Central and Ryan said Centel. Well, Ryan has officially broken the tie and is correct. This is a Centel post.
What?
Yes. This is legitimately footage from the fight, though. Like, this is a legit.
I thought
Like-
Central tweeted that.
They both did.
I didn't think Central.
The captions on it were
Central
different.
would have had a different caption.
Yep.
Oh,
The
fuck.
main
Central
reason
would have
on
had a
this
more
one-
like a fight broke out at.
No,
If we
Central's
look
kind of
back
been
at
shit posting lately.
Central has been, but if we go back to the video for Central,
Like
they actually
posting
included a
about AD in
source.
the G League.
No source. Journalistic
That was-
integrity.
Oh yeah.
Because I blocked out for Central, like they had a source in there, and that's why I blocked out the video. Whereas like with Centel, they didn't have a source; it was just right to the video. So I was hoping that you guys would catch that, because you always have to link your sources. But way to go, Ryan!
God.
All right, last but not least, let's see if Cameron can tie it up here. Going into the final one.
Can't.
This-
I'm locked in. I got this one immediately. Off rip.
Yep. All right. So this is a quote of "It's the dumbest thing ever" from Joe Mazzulla, who's the head coach of the Boston Celtics, because he won Coach of the Month. All right. Do we both have our answers?
Yeah.
All right. On 3, 2, 1.
Centel.
Central.
Cameron, did you say Centel?
Yeah, he said that about something else, didn't he?
He's said it about a lot of things, but I'm almost
has said
positive
it.
he did say this about winning coach of the month.
Ryan, you shouldn't be almost positive because you are correct. This was a
Fuck.
Central post.
It's
This is a
so,
legitimate
it's
quote.
so Joe Mazzulla. It's
Yeah.
so Joe Mazzulla. He's such an idiot.
I thought he.
For a lack of better words.
I don't
yes.
really follow Joe Mazzulla, but I know he said that about someone playing him theoretically in a movie.
Yep.
We talked
Yeah.
about talked about that.
That's why I included it.
But
It
this
was
is-
because
It's his opinion on anything that isn't how do you win a game of basketball. It's just why would I ever think about that? That's stupid. That's dumb. It's like, brother, lighten up just like a bit.
we
Have
just
you
literally
no
talked about-
whimsy? Have you no joy?
It's incredible. So Cameron, you told me going into
Hi.
this that you were going to be prepared, and you were locked in. You had this in the bag, everything. What happened?
You know, it's when the ball like when someone misses a shot and the ball comes down and you jump up with two hands and you grab it.
Okay,
That's
Torian
called a
points.
rebound.
Way to go. Great quote. Also,
Yep.
I'm just going to point out right away, because I don't want Cameron to take this fact away from me. Ryan has won an NBA trivia before I have. Um, it's a tough boat to be in. I was really rooting
Hey,
on Cameron here, but yeah,
folks,
Griffin
this is
did
this is
one.
why
Ryan did one.
this is why you play the games. This
Yes.
is why you play the games. Any given
All
Sunday.
right. And let's hope this streak continues.
Speaking
it's
of
crazy.
streaks and winning, the Western Conference recently, especially in the middle of the pack of the Western Conference, has been on a crazy run over the last month. Currently, uh, the 3 and the 8 seed in the Western Conference are separated by a total of 2 games, with currently a 4-way tie from the 4 to the 8 seed. Uh,
Those
this
are
is
yeah.
this is the most congested Western Conference I have seen in a while. Even going back to last year when there was that 3-way race at the end of the year for the number 1 seed between OKC, Denver, and Minnesota. I thought that was like, ooh, this is a really tight playoff race. This is crazy. We are so deep into the tiebreaker regulations right now on who has what heads up
Yeah, it's
on who.
it's just like a sandwich or like a cycle. Like we have it over the Clippers, the Clippers have it over Memphis, Memphis has it over us.
Golden State has it over us, I believe.
Yeah, and over Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
We have it over Denver.
Yes. Well, because we bitched them 4-0. Sweet. Get
Yeah.
the brooms.
Mm-hmm.
But as we're really coming to the end of the season here, this is when seeds start to get locked in. I want to throw it to Cameron here first. How do you see this kind of crazy tight bunch playing out? Do you think it'll stay close? Do you think teams will pull away? And I want to throw to you, who do you think falls to the play-in?
Yeah, so I don't have the remaining schedules pulled up in front of me, but I know that the Rockets have a pretty hard schedule coming up. The Lakers' schedule also isn't very easy, so I'm still going to have the Rockets as the 2 seed. They have the possibility of being either the 2 or the 3, and the only other team with a shot at the 2 seed is the Lakers. Memphis also has a somewhat tough schedule going up against the Timberwolves, who have not beaten them yet this year. However, Memphis did just fire their head coach about a week and a half ago. We didn't talk about that on last week's episode, but kind of a weird move. Obviously, since then, Ja Morant had a crazy game winner, but I don't know how much I really trust that team right now. Warriors, although they just lost to the Rockets at time of recording, I believe. Wait, who they play last night? Was it the Rockets?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
because Draymond Green begged the ref to give him a tech for elbowing Şengün. Very could have gotten double teched on that play, but
Yeah, he should have gotten tossed.
Um,
I saw that.
he
Was
should have.
ridiculous.
He should have.
Yeah, so I think at worst the Wolves go 2-2 in the next few games. I think the game versus Memphis kind of determines which team between the two of us is in the play-in and out of the play-in. I think that's going to be a very important game. Yeah, I'm going to put Rockets at 2. I'll put probably Warriors at 3, Lakers at 4, Nuggets at 5, Wolves at 6, Grizzlies at 7, Clippers at 8. No. Clippers at 7, Grizzlies at 8.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the Clippers. They have been on a tear recently. Kawhi Leonard, Norman Powell, James Harden playing their asses off, but I still I don't have their schedule pulled up in front of me, but down the stretch, I think these other teams can clutch out wins more reliably. I know they play the Rockets,
Yeah,
and I take the Rockets there.
I believe the Rockets play like 3 of the teams that are in this middle chunk.
Yeah, the Rockets' remaining 5 games are all playoff teams.
Mm-hmm. So
The
it's a
Wolves play 2
tough
playoff
round.
teams.
Yeah, the Clippers, I just pulled it up. They have currently, I believe they play 2 playoff teams and a play-in team in Sacramento. But they play Houston and they finish off the season at Golden State.
Yeah, I'm comfortable putting them at 7. Who does Memphis have left? Do you have that? Sorry.
I
Yeah,
can
let
pull
me
it up
pull it
quick.
up. Let me pull it up, bro. Okay.
So Memphis, they play the Hornets on Tuesday. They play the Wolves on Thursday. They play the Nuggets on Friday, and that's a back-to-back game, and they travel for it.
Ooh.
And then Sunday the 13th, they play the Mavericks as their final game.
Who have been playing pretty good recently.
Now that Anthony Davis is back.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to get that push.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm comfortable with that order. I would maybe, I don't know, between Golden State, Lakers, and Denver, I feel like it's going to shape out in that order, but those are kind of up in the air. Wolves, I feel like are kind of a lock at 6 if we can beat Memphis on Thursday. By the time this episode is out, you will know the result of that game. Yeah, and then I know we're not really talking about this, but I'll have the Mavericks at the 9 seed and the Kings at the 10 seed.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like been the nail has been driven into the Suns'
Yeah,
coffin.
sorry, Bradley Beal.
I'm not,
I'm
because
not.
then
That's fair.
my take about Kevin Durant has no chance of being overturned this year. So I'm living in it.
Well, he'll be
Kyle,
on the Wolves next year, so
Yeah.
yeah, then I'm gonna have to reckon with a lot. I'm gonna have to deal with a lot of previous opinions, but that's not now. Kyle, I want to throw it back to you, specifically looking at this sort of clump, this fight for the 6th seed near the bottom of the play-in. Currently, it used to be just the Clippers, the Warriors, and the Timberwolves, who are all clawing between that 6 through 8 range. With the fall of the Grizzlies, that opens up the 5 and the 6 as a possibility for some of those teams. Who do you see dodging the play-in out of that group of teams?
So I'm definitely picking the Timberwolves, and that has absolutely nothing to do with my hometown bias whatsoever. Because clearly I'm an unbiased individual on a sports podcast. But I think that the Timberwolves have just been on fire. Again, they have the Warriors had the longest win streak. They just lost to Houston. So now the longest win streak in the league belongs to the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Are you flexing a Charlotte jersey?
It's not just any Charlotte jersey. I will give him that. It is a Cody Zeller jersey.
It's a Buzz City Cody Zeller jersey.
And is that not tough? Is that not tough?
and it's a knockoff.
Well, that brought the aura down.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said that.
I'm
you should have said that you paid
frugal,
$300.
I'm not flexing. I'm
NBA
frugal.
official.
Yeah.
But Kyle,
Hey,
you
man.
were saying you're picking the Wolves to get out of that play-in spot. Who do you have at the 6?
I think that the Timberwolves could potentially end up in the 6. I think realistically they end up there. Because I think it's tough. I feel like the Nuggets could fall. Because they're on a 4-game losing streak. Ever since
that Minnesota game, it's been tough.
Ever since they lost in that double overtime game to us, they haven't been the same. Nikola Jokic has been on a tear because obviously he had that 60-point triple-double against us where he lost. I think he had another 45-point triple-double 2 nights later, and then he had a 30-point triple-double the other night, and he lost all those games. So part of that is he's the most valuable player in the league, and he's doing his best to carry his team and doesn't have as much support. The other part of it is his defense, because he has slowly regressed on the defensive side of the ball this season. I hate to say it, but he has definitely taken a step back in that department. So I feel like if teams are going to continue to poke that aspect of Denver's game out, that the Nuggets could easily lose the rest of the season. And if that happens, they're falling down. They can end up anywhere in like the 7th or 8th seed. So I just have a gut feeling that the Nuggets are going to fall. I do see the Clippers going up because they have been on fire as well, like Cameron was saying. So I think that the Clippers jump to 4. I think the Warriors jump to 5, and we jump to 6. And then like the Grizzlies and the Nuggets are in the play-in. I see the Lakers holding on just because it's fucking Luka and LeBron. What else are they going to do? So I think the Lakers hold on to 3. I don't think they jump to 2. I don't see it. So I think the Rockets are staying at 2 up there. Which then would leave, like, again, the Nuggets, the Grizzlies. I think the Kings and the Mavs are going to stick in there, just kind of like what Cam's saying. I don't trust the Nuggets. And that is definitely not, again, the rivalry in Minnesota to Denver, because it's not a rivalry, because we own their poverty fucking franchise this season in particular. Smile. So, yeah.
So the thing with this Clippers team is that I will never be able, I don't care how good the 5 players on the court and the 8 players or however many players sitting on the bench are. They could be a great roster. And they've been playing like a great roster recently. The problem is that on like the official paperwork and everything, the name of the team is still the LA Clippers. And that's irredeemable because they are the Clippers. The history of the Clippers does not care about who is on the team. They are the Clippers. So they may very well, Kyle, like you said, they may very well climb to the 4. They may climb to the 4 if the Nuggets drop. If they climb to the floor 4, and Golden State is at the 5.
Climb to the floor.
I'm taking Golden State
all the way
series.
from the ground.
Even if the Clippers are up 3-1 on Golden State in the first round of the playoffs, I'm taking Golden State. It's just they're the Clippers. And they will always be the Clippers. They are still paying for Donald Sterling. So
True. I think the one thing is postseason success for the Clippers is so minimal and arguably cursed at this point. Regular season success for the Clippers.
Well, that's the thing.
Is
that's
a different
the thing.
story. So I'm saying that there's a chance that they climb to the 4. I'm not saying
Didn't
that they
make a conference
outside
finals
of postseason.
like a couple years ago?
I don't think so.
Let me look into it.
I just always think of, I mean, remember, Lob City was like a 2 seed. The Clippers can put together regular seasons. They will never succeed in the postseason because they are the Los Angeles Clippers.
Cameron was correct. They did
What
make
year?
the conference finals in 2020.
2021.
Oh, yeah, it was
No,
2021.
2020 was Lakers
Bubble.
Nuggets.
Yeah,
bubble.
Yes, so they
Who
made
were
it
they-
in
who did they-
2021.
Suns.
The Suns.
Oh,
which was the year
that was that weird.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and
'Cause
then
they-
the Bucks played against the Hawks.
Mhm.
yeah. Wow,
And yeah,
two
that was
teams, two teams that year, both went to the finals and have not sniffed playoff success since.
The both
Right.
Hawks 2 teams.
Stop
that went
it
to the
right now. No, boo.
Damn it.
Ryan, is it too late to like kick him out of the call at this point? Like,
Yeah, his name's on the masthead. We can't.
fuck, Ryan, I'm driving over there. I'm slamming your laptop on the table. Fuck you.
I'm trying to think of a masthead pun.
Don't think. Don't think. It only causes more damage. Yeah,
All right.
but when it comes to this playoff seeding, of course, like Cameron, like you said, the audience will know more than we do right now because there's some pretty important games happening during the week this week before the release of this episode on Friday. So it could look like a very different landscape depending on how some of these games go. I think it's just the circle of tiebreakers of like who has the head-to-head on who. I think that's going to limit. I think those tiebreakers are going to end up limiting Minnesota to the 6. I don't think we're going to be able to rise because I don't see both the Clippers and the Warriors falling below us in win-loss total.
Yeah, I do think there's a chance the Wolves can win out, but even so, with like all the tiebreakers and stuff, it's still possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think
But
theoretically
even
the 3 seed is our cap, but
yeah, even if the Wolves end up at the 6, really, it's just a race to not be the 8 seed. If you're the Lakers or the Nuggets or the Clippers, really, that 3 seed is really important because it gets you out of the way of having to play Oklahoma City until the conference finals. Because no matter what, you'll be able to dodge them.
apparently teams want OKC.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's why I don't run teams, man. Because I don't want OKC. Even though
Yeah.
even
I
though
kinda
we
want.
match up well against them, And if this last couple of games have been a preview of what the playoff whistle that SGA is going to get, that's a very different Oklahoma City team. SGA has had a total of 1 free throw over the last 2 games,
Yeah,
and
if
so
I
if
don't
that's a
want the
signal,
Warriors in the first round, I would be okay with the Nuggets, of course.
I don't want the Lakers. I don't want the Lakers.
Yeah.
I really don't want the Lakers.
The Lakers are scary.
I also
If-
don't want the Rockets. I feel like we don't match up.
No,
the
I don't think
greatest
we're
to
gonna
the
follow the
Rockets.
7 seed though. I
True.
think we're gonna stay out the play-in.
So I think that ends us up probably with the Lakers or if it's the Nuggets, I think it goes depending on the start of the series. That series could be done in 5 games. It could go to 7. Just
Yeah.
depends.
It could
also
be done in
depends
4.
on what Jamal Murray looks like.
I would
when he
rather
comes back.
play. I think the Rockets are going to win a first round matchup. I would rather play them in the second round than the first round, just
For
because
sure.
they do lack experience.
Mm-hmm. The deeper it goes, teams like the Rockets for sure, but even the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
What do they have? Like their playoff experience as a team is
Was semis last year.
getting bitched by Luka in the semis last year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then Alex Caruso winning a chip. He's the only player on the team that has had like a significant like playoff run.
Isaiah
also
Hartenstein did on the Clippers conference finals, and
He was on that
Knicks.
team.
He was with the Knicks last year.
Yeah,
I guess
but
they
he was
did
on the
go- yeah.
Clippers before that.
True.
I forgot that he was on the Clippers. That's my bad.
But I mean, like he went on the Knicks run last year as well.
Yeah.
And the Knicks
That's
played a good couple of series there. But yeah, when you get into the conference finals or even a game 7 in the semis, that lack of playoff experience could come back to haunt Oklahoma City. I think if you're going to get Oklahoma City, you want them in the semis. Cuz the first round, they're going to be too used to it because the pressure of the playoffs hasn't really kicked in yet. And by the time you reach the conference finals, their team is too deep, and usually 1 or 2 injuries have peaked up by that time because you're just playing so often. You're playing either every 2 days or every other day at that point. And the 7th, 8th, and 9th guys on the Thunder are better than your 7th, 8th, and 9th guys. So that's tough. So I think if we could get Oklahoma City in the semis, beautiful. I think we would have a shot.
I think it kind of all depends on where we end up at, but I could see us at least getting back to the conference finals again this year, depending on matchups, depending on how this all seeds out. I think there's I don't want to say it, like I don't want to like guarantee it or nothing, but I think that there's a like realistic pathway for the Wolves to make it to the conference finals. I'm not saying finals because there are some really good teams in the West, and we're gonna get tired just like last year. But
yeah,
I think we.
Well,
we could.
If we don't go 7 games with Denver again.
Yeah.
There was also like a physical tiredness, but also you could see it coming from a while away. That was the emotional peak.
Yeah.
Like they won that game 7, and you could almost tell the moment you won it. It's like, oh, this team is going to be coming down from it still at the first game of the Western Conference Finals.
It's hard to recover
and they were.
from that.
Mm-hmm. They were.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, I'll say it right now. Give me the Lakers out of the West.
Yeah, I can't argue with that take.
What do you mean, unfortunately? The GOAT, LeBron, he's going to get another one.
I know.
4 rings before 40, he's still chasing. That's why he's the GOAT. My glorious king, LeBron. I still can't get over those edits. Those are all so good.
Thinking about the man on the Lakers.
Well, we could sit here and glaze LeBron James for years. We could bring Akash on here, and he could do that. He could do that for longer than we could combine.
We should do that. We should have a LeBron episode.
If they win the chip, we can do a LeBron episode.
We'll do a LeBron episode. That's a Bisportuals promise right there.
Yes, okay.
We will do a LeBron episode if he wins the chip this year. But there's a whole nother sports league we got to talk about. Let's go ahead. Let's move over to the NFL. You know, Cameron, you talked about it earlier, and well, Kyle brought it up actually after NBA Central or Centel. Kyle is still, when it comes to trivia, it's tough. It's tough out.
It's a heartbreaker.
It's a heartbreaker. So, I have formulated a game of trivia that Kyle should win. He should win this trivia game, which is just the setup is going to be even better when he doesn't. But he should win.
I got a fan.
He should win this game. This is a trivia game all about Kyle's favorite franchise in all of sports. This is Minnesota Vikings trivia. So, how it's going to work here. I've got 10 questions here. These are not multiple choice. This is not a pop quiz. These are 10 questions that you have to provide the answers for. What will happen? I will read the question. And as soon as you think you know the answer, you do not have to wait for me to finish the question. As soon as you think you know the answer, go ahead and buzz in and give me the answer. Now, you may be asking yourself, Ryan, you're half a country away. How would you know if we don't even have physical buzzers? How are we going to buzz in? Don't worry, I'm prepared. You're going to buzz in by making a buzzer sound. Now, I'm no buzzer engineer. I don't know what sound buzzers makes, so I'm going to leave that up to you guys. Some creative freedom there. Feel free to buzz in with whatever buzzer sound you feel suits in the moment and suits your buzzer.
I'm not sure what buzzer sound I want. I'm still Christian pondering.
God damn it.
Look, I thought there was low-hanging fruit there. That was fruit on the ground, and you actually dug a hole under it. You dug a hole under the fruit on the ground, and then you grabbed it.
That was a crab apple. That was a crab apple of a joke.
That was...
Christian pondering. Christian pondering.
I'm still Christian pondering.
I'm going to ponder putting a 9mm in my mouth and pulling the trigger.
I'm going to ponder putting one in Cameron's mouth.
That would be murder. And actually, since we have you on tape.
Yep. This is court admissible.
How did this turn against me?
What do you
he's
mean?
A Christian pondering.
You
were gonna kill me.
You are in conspiracy of a crime. That's a felony.
Like, literally, this recording, I could send this to the FBI right now and you would get arrested.
Guys,
like,
Bisportuals is going to get endorsed by the U.S. government because they're going to have to play this clip at court at the trial.
Literally, I could just send this episode to the U.S. government and you would be arrested. You don't even have to do anything more. You could just get arrested from this.
I hate this.
Now I'm just trying to think of a Laquan Treadwell pun.
No.
What's his Instagram username? What?
I don't even know.
No, Kyle, you know it.
I don't.
No, what is it? It's something awesome.
It's something goofy.
Yeah.
we had two different answers there. Hold on, I'll find it.
It's like perfect or something. No, it's fucking awesome. It would help if I spelled
Laquan right.
Laquan.
Racist.
Hit Laquan.
No, it was a typo. Successful Quan.
Successful Quan. He is a successful man, going down as the greatest wide receiver in not only Minnesota Vikings franchise history, but NFL history as a whole. First ballot Hall of Famer in IMO.
Well, let's see if he shows up on our little trivia here.
You better.
Are you guys ready to dive in here? You
got
your buzzers ready?
I'm in my swimsuit and I'm on the diving board.
All right. Let's take the plunge. First question. Who is the franchise leader in passing yards?
Beep.
Cameron?
That would be Fran Tarkenton.
Fran Tarkenton is the correct answer. We're opening up with an easy. A gimme here to start, for sure. Question number 2. How many former Minnesota Vikings players are in the NFL Hall of Fame?
Beep.
Kyle?
I want to say it's 12.
Okay. 12?
Whoever's closest.
Yeah, I'm going to give you whoever's closest.
13.
Oh, fuck you.
I'm giving the point to Kyle, even though Cameron is closer, because fuck you. That's a shitty.
Yeah, fuck you.
The correct answer was 22. 22.
I got one of the numbers right. That's all I
Okay.
need.
That's a better reason than Ryan's reason.
There are 22 former Vikings in the NFL Hall of Fame. In the Vikings Ring of Honor, there are 27 players. All right. On to number 3. What was the official name? This is a two-parter here. What was the official name of the Metrodome, and what Minnesota teams played there during its tenure?
Beep. Okay, so it was the Hubert H. Humphrey Dome originally, and then it transitioned to the Mall of America Dome or Stadium or something like that. And at the time, there were only 2 teams from Minnesota that played there. It was the Twins and the Vikings. There's no way there was a.
Okay.
There's no way there was a third.
Cameron?
I wouldn't know the names. I would say Twins. Did the Sting play there or whatever?
Oh, the
So I'm
Swarm.
going to give this to Kyle.
Yes.
The Swarm.
The original name, you're like just off. It is the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome.
Oh yeah.
But the 3 teams that played there, the Vikings, the Twins, and the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Oh yeah, they did play there before TCF.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out TCF.
I think you mean Huntington Bank.
Nope. It's TCF Bank.
Huntington Bank Stadium.
TCF Bank.
All
was
right,
a
so
better
that
name.
is...
I apologize for dead naming that
Kyle's
field,
selling out
but
for big. Kyle's selling out for big TCF.
it's the same bank.
Big TCF.
It's the same bank, regardless. But whatever.
So it is now
Stop fucking glazing TCF Bank.
2 to Kyle, 1 to Cameron. We move on to question 4. Who is the franchise leader in tackles? Cameron?
Damn.
Harrison Smith.
That is correct. It is Harrison Smith.
Yep.
I was trying to think of an old head.
No, very close. I believe second is John Randall.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
the
I was
old
gonna
head who
say.
I was trying to think of.
But Harrison Smith doing it for long enough at a high enough level. He is the leader in franchise leader in tackles. 2-2. Tied up here. Question 5. When did Minnesota introduce the skull chant to part of its football routine?
Beep.
Kyle?
I believe it was 2017. It's whatever year US Bank Stadium opened. That was when we introduced it.
Okay. Cameron?
2001.
No. So Kyle is the closest. He is correct. It was introduced the year that US Bank Stadium opened. It was introduced at the home opener against the Green Bay Packers.
Skull was definitely a thing longer than that.
Not the
We would
official
say
skull
skull.
chant.
We would say school well
official
before that, but the actual
drums.
action of it. Yeah.
Oh,
That was the problem. Is the year was 2016,
Damn.
not 2017. I will still give you the point because you got the rest of it. It's the year that US Bank first opened. All right. So first half, 3-2 Kyle. Close game. Number 6. How many major jersey redesigns have the Vikings had in franchise history? These are considered... Cameron?
Beep. Oh, fuck. How'd you get there so quick?
3.
Kyle?
I think it's 5.
Okay, you're both wrong. I'll finish the question because there is more here. The definition of major jersey redesigns are in every aspect other than a few principal pieces were changed. So the colors didn't change, of course. They still stayed purple and gold or purple and white. But design, line thickness, lettering templates, everything else changed about the jerseys. I'll give you all another guess if you want it.
If it's not 5, I think it's only going to be 6.
Okay.
I think we would go up from there.
Cameron?
It's probably 6. I'm gonna say 4.
Okay. The correct answer is 1.
Oh shit.
2006.
That is wild.
For the rest of their time, since I believe this is in this, I should have clarified this is in the Super Bowl era, but
Yeah.
for the rest of their history, their jerseys there have been alterations here and there, especially to follow NFL regulations like changing of the face masks and things like that. But their design philosophy and their design mandate on the jerseys had remained the same up until 2006.
I would make the argument that was it 2014 or 2015 when we went from like the kind of like mid 2000s look to our current look. I would argue that is a major change personally, but I respect you.
You can argue
as
that. I won't listen to it.
The
you can argue it.
dictionary would disagree, I guess.
Yeah, that's
But
crazy.
no points there, so it's a wash. No points. We head to number 7. How many head coaches have the Minnesota Vikings had in franchise history?
Beep.
Cameron.
9.
Kyle.
I thought it was 8. I thought Kevin O'Connell was 8.
You're both wrong. This is 10.
Fucker.
Kevin O'Connell was the 10th coach in Minnesota Vikings history.
I knew
That
it
means
wasn't a lot.
eighth would have been Leslie Frazier, I believe.
Yes.
That means Mike Zimmer was 9. All right.
Mike
Final
Zimmer was 9.
Final 3.
Don't tell the guy from The Apprentice that.
Currently, it's what? Kyle at 3, Cameron at 2 still? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kyle at 3, Cameron at 2. Still a close game. Number 8. What are the names of the co-owners of the Minnesota Vikings?
Beep.
Cameron.
Mark and Ziggy Wilf.
Kyle.
Yeah, Mark and Ziggy Wilf. And the last name is spelled W-Y-L-F. Wait.
You're both wrong.
What?
In fact, there are 3 co-owners
of
the Minnesota Vikings.
God, what's her name? It's a girl. I know that.
Zyra.
No. It's like Heidi or something. I feel like it starts
So
with
the
an H.
3 co-owners. You got the first 2, Mark and Ziggy Wilf. You're forgetting the 3rd Wilf cousin, Leonard Wilf.
Oh, I thought it was Ziggy's wife was a co-owner.
No. According to official league sources, the 3 co-owners, Mark, Ziggy, and Leonard Wilf. Leonard does not involve with daily football operations.
He's never involved on any of the press releases or anything.
No, he's not.
He's not involved in football operations. He just owns.
He works on the financials.
Good for you, Leonard.
All right. I'm going to be honest. That last one and this next one are intentionally tricky. But this last one, the final question, you should be able to get. Second to last question here, number 9. What is the call sign of the official radio affiliate of the Minnesota Vikings? Kyle.
Is it K-Fan?
You're very close.
Do I have to include the number?
No. Cameron, do you have a guess?
I would have said K-Fan. I don't know what a call sign is.
It's what you're thinking. It's the 4 letters. I'm looking for the 4 letters.
Yeah.
So KFAN?
No.
KDWB.
101.3. So.
Is it KSTP?
Though all of their marketing material and all of their official branding is K-Fan, because it's the fan network. Their official call sign is actually KFXN.
They're non-binary.
Actually, okay, I take my boo back. Yeah.
Kyle's a bigot. We have it on clip. Clip that.
I just thought it was lame.
All right, I'm going to remember that now. I have no idea.
Yeah. KFXN is
Latinx.
technically...
I wouldn't go that far.
Final question. This is Cameron's opportunity to tie it up here. What Minnesotan racetrack shares its radio host? Kyle.
Canterbury Park.
That would be Canterbury Park shares its radio host / vocal talent with the Minnesota Vikings. That is Paul Allen, voice of the Minnesota Vikings, shares with Canterbury Park.
Hey, Cameron, that middle finger was for you.
Final score, Kyle at 4, Cameron at 2. Kyle, I want to come to you for the post game. How does it still feel to only get less than half of the questions right?
Look, okay, you mentioned it yourself that some of those were intentionally tricky, and just in general, I was in the ballpark. I was in the ballpark for a lot of them. So I have been a fan. I will continue to be a fan. I'll brush up on the finer details, but the only thing that really matters right now is that I have won a trivia game that is not college basketball. This is a great day for me.
It's
I
a win in the
cannot
win
wait to get my
column.
bonus check in the mail for all my winnings because Cameron has been hawking them all. So I can't wait. I can't wait for that payout. It's a great day. And to all my fans at home, I know it's been a long time coming. It's been, 13 previous episodes now that I have failed you tremendously. This is just the start of some new beginnings, and I can't wait to see what the future holds. I'm filibustering right now. I'm doing my best Cory Booker impression because I do not want Cameron Richard Gertensen to speak on this podcast at this very moment.
Yeah. Just for press conference sake, yes, Cameron, state your media affiliation if you have a question for Mr. Springer.
Hi, my name is Cameron Gertensen. I am affiliated with the Bisportuals official news network. Yeah, so I just had a question for Mr. Springer. If this episode goes live with you winning a trivia game, does that also mean the episode goes live where you threaten to murder your co-hosts?
Yes, I'm willing to upload this episode where I threatened to put a 9mm in Cameron Gertensen's mouth.
You heard it here first, folks.
I mean, clearly my floor is being taken away from me, but I do believe that that is fair and just in this world. It's worth it to put my neck out there in terms of this victory. Anything within reason, and I would argue this is within reason to win a trivia game. So
you heard it here first, folks. This is the grand finale of the Bisportuals podcast, as co-host Kyle Springer will be headed to federal prison.
Yeah, I think, in all honesty, we should have seen this coming when, on the introductory post on our social media pages, Kyle did say his favorite athlete was Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
So
look, we
should have seen that
portion
coming.
Of this anymore. We cannot be continuing to spread misinformation. That is just not true.
Who is Hernandez jersey?
Who is misinformation?
No, I do not.
Who is misinformation? I've never met this woman.
I'll let the Bisportuals Instagram page do the talking. So please follow us on there, please, I beg you.
My favorite athlete of all time is Aaron Hernandez. I respect what he did to his partner.
Wow, Cameron.
Okay, we are going to have to cut that.
Yeah, like
we are absolutely
signed Kyle Springer.
No,
Kyle Springer's more of a
I was just reading his post.
Guy.
I was reading his post off the Instagram account.
Look, the fans will just have to go to the Instagram to see for themselves what the truth is. Also, for the record, I'm changing the password to the Instagram account, and I'm not telling you what it is.
Please, God,
Cameron, who is the one guy in the wide receivers draft who was racist that you drafted for a criminal record?
Oh yeah, the terrible, awful, terrible guy.
Well, I always thought that was confusing.
I definitely remember his name. He was so terrible and awful.
I always thought that was confusing since you did name him as your favorite athlete.
Yeah,
I did not actually name him.
Weird. It felt kind of weird.
I believe I named Braxton Berrios as my favorite athlete.
No, you just said that he pulled Alex Earl like 18,000 times.
Well, yeah, because you guys were dismissing his swagger.
Dismissing is a strong word there.
No, you were dismissing his swagger.
Let's try to get this back on the rails here. When it comes to the Minnesota Vikings, which we have now proven, Kyle is the preeminent expert on this podcast on by getting 40% of the questions correct. The Vikings are relatively confident, at least it seems within house, that they have their quarterback of the future in the building, and his name is JJ McCarthy. They seem very confident. They're putting all of their marbles behind JJ McCarthy, and they're not looking, especially in this year's draft, to be looking at any of these quarterback prospects, despite what Kevin O'Connell may say or speak about at the draft's press conferences. But other teams are not so lucky, and in fact have become somewhat quarterback desperate. I mean, you look at Tennessee with the number 1 pick; it's basically all but locked that they'll be taking Cam Ward from the University of Miami. And the consensus number 2 quarterback in this draft class is Shedeur Sanders. It's not particularly close. It's Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, a gap, and then you have like Jackson Dart and players of that caliber. Quinn Ewers is down there, 3rd, 4th round draftable grade there. But Shedeur Sanders, for being QB2 in the draft class, there have been a lot of rumblings recently about Shedeur Sanders potentially falling, not just out of the top 3 of the draft, not just out of the top 10 of the draft, potentially falling out of the top 20 all the way to Pittsburgh, at who I believe has pick 21 in the NFL draft currently. So I want to start with Kyle. Do you see Shedeur falling? And if so, who do you think makes the move to pick up the quarterback out of Colorado?
I think it's reasonable that he doesn't go in a top 2 or 3 pick, because obviously Cam Ward's going number 1. And from that point, the teams that were up there weren't necessarily like QB needy teams. I would argue that obviously Tennessee is, and they're solving their problem, clean slate. But then from there, it's what the Giants are at 3. They would be the kind
the
of
Browns at 2 and the Giants at 3.
Yeah, so the Browns, obviously we spoke on it last week or the week before about the Browns corners' comments
last week,
about the swing and a miss on Deshaun Watson and how they really don't have a quarterback on the roster. So I could see it. For the Giants, they've kind of put a Band-Aid on their quarterback problem for this year with Jameis and Russell Wilson. And then from there, again, I see the writing on the wall for Shedeur not, getting drafted really anywhere in that top 20, because a lot of those teams don't need a quarterback. And if you don't need a quarterback in the first round, you're not taking a quarterback in the first round. You're addressing the correct problems in your organization. The argument that I am kind of interested in is the Arch Manning sweepstakes, because going into next year, Arch Manning is going to be an eligible prospect for the draft. So that's where I see maybe more of this argument where Shedeur could fall, of like, well, I feel like that's what the Giants are doing is, well, we're just going to sign these 1-year contracts for 2 quarterbacks. If one of them doesn't pan out this year, we have the other one. Great. If we lose, we lose. And then we get Arch Manning. Like, I would say that there's probably going to be some teams that are chalking that right now. If Arch was in this class, he'd probably be the number 1 quarterback. There's an argument there against Cam Ward.
Oh,
maybe.
I don't think it'd be an argument.
Right.
I think Arch Manning would be the number 1 quarterback in this class. And that's no disrespect to Cam Ward. Arch Manning he's a Manning.
He's going to be generational.
He looked better than Quinn Ewers at Texas.
Yes. So I feel like that's where these organizations are probably looking at one of the weaker QB classes for the past 10 years. Being generous here.
Not the
probably
weakest.
One of the weaker ones. Not the weakest, but
one of the weaker.
One of the weaker classes. And they're not seeing their future franchise guy at quarterback. So they're going to try and address some of these other positional issues on the roster that would support a stronger QB class next year. So that's where I could see Shedeur falling. What's up?
Wait, hold up. Cameron, you think that the QB class 2 years ago was weaker than this class?
3 years ago, maybe? The one with
Bryce
Kenny
Young
Pickett?
and CJ Stroud? Oh, okay, the Kenny Pickett one.
Yeah. That class.
I thought you were talking about
no,
the Bryce
like
Young
CJ.
CJ Stroud.
Yeah. No. Sorry,
Okay.
3 years ago. No, at this
Oh,
point.
yeah. Yes.
It was 2
Yes.
years ago during the season.
We understood which class you were talking about because it was awful.
Ryan didn't for
I
a
did
second.
not.
He
I did not.
accused
Right.
me. He threatened me.
Well, I was
he
accusing
looked at
you
me
of having
very
a
sinisterly.
rancid take because there is no way in hell that this class is worse than, or isn't worse than the Bryce Young CJ Stroud class.
Well, I would never
Cam
say
Ward's
that
ceiling
on my...
is what Bryce Young could be.
To quote
Quote.
Quavo.
Quote it for me. Quote right now.
Quavo.
Kyle, freestyle.
Quavo
No.
said, "On my mama," and yeah.
Cameron, can you lay down a beat for Kyle the freestyle on?
All right, so getting back to brass tacks here. The class right now.
This is some real MF Doom flow.
I'm not rapping. Shut up. Stop.
What bars?
I'm not doing it.
Such bars.
It'll never happen. But getting right back into it. Again, Shedeur is a good quarterback. He's going to be a staple of a franchise. Is he a good staple or a bad staple? We won't know. But I feel like he could be a long-term player for a team. He's gonna be in the NFL for a long time. I see it. He might be a journeyman. He might stick with one franchise. He is going to have a decent NFL career. He's going to make his money. He's going to be able to live off of it. Is he a top 5 talent in this class? Maybe not. I think that he's the number 2 quarterback in this class, but I don't think that he is worth a top 5 pick. I could see him falling. I think that if any year for this to happen is going to happen, it is going to be this year, where maybe we get one quarterback at number 1. We don't see, I think the argument is being made that like Pittsburgh could take him at 21 because they really don't have a quarterback on the roster. Like the
Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, he's not a cornerstone for a franchise. No offense to Mason Rudolph, but
he's a cornerstone.
A Darnold year.
He's cornerstone at calling a certain Browns player a certain slur.
Mm-hmm. Being racist.
And then Miles
just
go bam.
Yep, smack.
And then everyone's like, "Woo!"
It was great day. But I could even see Shedeur going further than that. There's a chance that and this might be a hot take here, that we have Cam Ward go at 1, and we don't see another quarterback until round 2, because arguably, again, if we all realize that the quarterbacks suck this year, why waste the draft capital on one that, again, not that they're all bad, but why waste a first round pick on this quote unquote developmental piece? Or this Shedeur isn't going to come in and save a franchise, in my opinion. I think that he would be a good development item for the future.
Can I throw one thing out there as to a reason as to why one specific team would draft Shedeur Sanders in the first round? Because if you're Joe Schoen, the GM of the New York Giants, and you ride this year with your quarterbacks, the only respectable quarterbacks on your roster being Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston,
and Tommy DeVito,
you're getting fired by week 10.
Yeah, I can see that.
Game over. They need New York especially needs some reason to
root for the Giants.
Keep the GM around. Because if the GM passes on, if say they do gamble, they take Travis Hunter at 3 or Abdul Carter, whoever's not taken at 2. They take them at 3, and then they let either, I'd say the 2 quarterback needy teams after them are either Pittsburgh at 21, or I believe the Saints are in the late teens. They could be looking for a succession plan to Derek Carr. You gamble and say, they're not going to take him, and we'll get him at the top of the second round at pick 35. And then Pittsburgh takes him, and you're stuck with Jackson Dart. Your ass is fired before the night is over.
That's fair.
The New York Giants management team, not necessarily the head coach, because I believe Brian Dable has a little bit of leeway, still a year or two, because he did get Daniel Jones. But the front office is on the hottest seat in the NFL right now. So they need to make a move. And I have my own take, but Cameron, I want to throw it to you first, if I can here. How do you see this Shedeur thing going? There have been some things that came out very recently. Shedeur just had his pro day at Colorado, and he was throwing, and there were some NFL DBs that came out and said some of his mechanics, specifically with the ball padding, could be dead giveaways that he may need to take out of his game. And then some other players came out and said, that's bullshit, that's stupid, that's dumb. Do you see Shedeur falling out of that top three, the Browns Giants area, or do you see them sticking and picking him there?
I think falling out of the top three is reasonable. Kyle, I do think you are undervaluing the quality of Shedeur and even Jackson Dart a little bit. I think, like, even in next year's draft class, I think they would still be like late first round, early second round talents. Okay, you're looking at me funny, but
I am looking at you funny because it's a funny take.
Well, yeah,
because Jackson Dart isn't even a second round talent in this year's draft.
I've been seeing some rise on him.
He has probably one of the strongest arms in the draft. He's very accurate. The issue with Jackson Dart is his decision making sometimes is not great, and he played in a Mickey Mouse offense. That Ole Miss offense was very much first read, half side of the field, RPO kind of stuff, where you don't have to make full field reads. You don't have to go to your second, your third, your fourth guys. Sometimes he can go to his second. He's just not quick with his processing.
Those are things you can learn.
His pocket presence is kind of booty cheeks as well.
Yeah. But recently it came out that the Titans and Shedeur Sanders mutually canceled their meeting together. I think the word mutual might be a little bit of a red herring for me, but I'm going to suspect that it's because Shedeur has a team that says, we're going to draft you. Do you want to come to us? He says yes. Cancels everything with every other team. The Titans are fine with it because they know they're going to take Cam Ward. It could be the Saints. It could be maybe even the Giants at number 2 or number 3. Another team that wasn't mentioned that I think could potentially look to take a quarterback is the Colts.
Yeah,
giving
up on AR5 that quick?
He has not been good at all.
No, he hasn't.
He's been kind of stinky doo-doo.
A little bit, but
I think if he came to Minnesota, he could probably develop, but definitely not in Indianapolis. And then they also have Daniel Jones.
I don't think they could make a flower grow in Indianapolis. I don't think any kind of development happens in the Colts organization.
Probably not. Which is why I don't think Shedeur would want to go there, but it is a team that I think could potentially be looking to take a quarterback. I think if he falls out of the top 15, some team trades into the top 20, looks to pick him up. Maybe even the Niners later on could look to pick him up if they don't want to pay Brock Purdy.
Ooh,
yeah,
that's a spicy take.
That's a huge blow up there if they do that, though.
Well, yeah, but Brock Purdy
does all their core anyways.
Yeah, but
and they don't want to pay Brock Purdy because why would you?
He wants $50 million a year, and he is not worth that at all. And it's just because like he's been serviceable in this very quarterback-friendly offense. And I don't think the Niners are going to be a good team next year. I think that's a Bisportuals. We all agree on that.
Yeah, I think that's
sign it, ship it.
Yeah,
package it, box it up, get it to the door front. You know,
get it to Canton.
Yeah, where Brock Purdy will never be, unless he's visiting Christian McCaffrey's bust there.
Yes. I'm sure he has a game-worn jersey in there for the next 2 years, and then it's gonna disappear.
Just Canton? Didn't they have who was that Broncos wide receiver who had when they had to play quarterback during the COVID season, and they put his
and I can't think of his name.
He had a girl name.
I don't think that was.
I don't remember.
Hold on,
but
I will.
Because they put his armband in Canton because he was their emergency quarterback after all the entire quarterback room got COVID.
Okay, Cam was kind of right. It's
Kendall
Hinton.
Kendall Hinton. Yes. I like Cameron. I like the point you brought up about someone potentially trading into those late 20s to pick
or
them
even
to pick
like low or late teens,
or
early
yeah, the
20s.
late teens is what I meant. You're right. Here's my take. You want to hear my take on this? The team to do it, the New York Giants. The New York Giants are.
Yeah.
I think they're going to trade with the Bucks, who are at 18, I believe, because the Bucks don't really have a ton of holes to fill. They're solid at a lot of their positions, and
You might
so
look to get like a receiver.
That's what I was
yeah.
thinking.
But at that point, Tet McMillan's going to be off the board.
Mhm.
Luther, you're going to be
Travis
picking
Hunter's
between
gone.
Travis Hunter's for sure gone.
Yeah.
You're going to be picking between that like wide receiver 3 and 5 range, where you're going to be looking at Luther Bolden, Matthew Golden. There's another guy I am forgetting who's in that sort of second tier of wide receiver.
Oh, Laquan Treadwell.
No, he's not an
Successful
eligible draft
Quan.
He's a
candidate.
rookie.
Successful Quan.
He was successful at becoming a rookie again.
But you maybe if you're the Bucks, you're looking at those prospects and you're like, we don't really have a first round grade on any of these guys. Maybe a late or an early second. You go back, you get 35 out of the
35.
Giants, plus maybe a third, and maybe a future like 4th or 5th or something. Whatever you have to do on the draft charts to make it work out. But you still get a quality player top of the second round. The Giants get their guy of the future while also not reaching on Shador at 3, so they can still get Travis Hunter. If they get Travis Hunter at 3 and then they come back up for Shador, that connection is there.
Yeah.
You're looking at your dream upside is the potential of like a Joe Burrow, Jamar kind of connection between those players coming out of college. I don't think that'll be the case, but you're dreaming that that's a possibility. Emeka Ogbuka, that's the other wide receiver.
Oh, Ohio State. Yeah.
Yes. But I think that might be best case scenario for the Giants. You pick Hunter at 3, you trade up into the late teens, sell a little bit. You probably have to overpay because you are going up for a quarterback, and everybody knows you're going up for a quarterback. But you get your guy in the building. He can learn what to do under Russell Wilson and what passes not to make under Jameis Winston. Set
and
you up.
under Russell Wilson.
True, fair point.
But
Russell Wilson hasn't gone 30 for 30.
True.
I like that. I like that for the Giants. I could potentially see the Browns doing something like that. Not only out of necessity, but also a little bit out of incompetence. Just because like they realistically should not be spending any more assets.
Mm-hmm.
But I can see them potentially trading up, grabbing him if he falls.
For sure. Well, and predicting drafts, these kind of draft things, is always so crazy. Predicting falls and stuff. I mean, the fall everybody thinks of, there's the Aaron Rodgers fall.
There's the rise and fall of a Midwest princess.
Oh,
True.
yeah, absolutely. Chappelle Rowan.
Chaperone.
But when it comes to predicting these kind of things, there are people who do it for a living who are fucking awful at it. Mel Kiper. But
Yeah, fuck that guy. Honestly.
Oh
That's
yeah, no. Why
Bisportuals.
is he always wrong? And why does he still have a platform?
because legacy, he's been doing it
Yeah.
longer than we have been alive.
His legs have been at sea.
Truly. But if
All right,
there's one
Roger.
thing that, if there is one thing
Oh,
that is
it time for
consistent-
Kyle Springer's big board
I was
on
going
the
to say,
NFL Network?
Roger, I know a guy who could easily replace Mel Kiper.
I think
Kyle-
you need a
Kyle,
big board.
Actually,
know
I
Mel
also know
Kiper.
2 more.
You do know
Right
Mel
next to-
Kiper is not employed by the NFL or NFL Network, right? He's an ESPN guy.
Oh, he is? I totally thought he was an NFL Network guy.
Regardless, you still need a big board.
True, you do need a big board
Yeah,
to go along with all the big guys.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say it.
they can help with the big board.
They can reach all the way up to the top of the board.
They've got some big wood, and with big
Maybe
wood,
they
you
could
can
like
make a big
they could
board.
like lift you up, like, and just like hold you up there and let you go put the magnets on the board. It'd be fun.
Aw.
It'd be a bonding thing for you and the big guys.
This
But
is-
you know what
this
is
sucks.
consistent?
I take
It's
it back.
everybody's favorite segment. It's, of course, the one, the only, the finale. It's Cameron Grittinson's Album of the Week. Cameron, what have you got for us this week?
I have Quanic's debut record, Canopia. Quanic, their real name is Nick Quan, 19 years old. They're from Florida. Started playing guitar at age 6, and in 2021, after like the, I guess, heat of the pandemic, they started releasing music under the name Quanic. Began making like digicore pop rap songs with reverb-soaked, distorted vocals that have stuck around. Before eventually shifting to like a more rock-focused style, primarily like shoegaze and grunge. Their music in this vein was very inspired by bands like Superheaven, Deftones, and Slowdive. Slowdive they recently opened for on their late 2024 tour. Their debut album, Canopia, was released in February 2022 under Dead Air Records and features a good mix of shoegaze and digipop. Although I like their 2023 album Step Dream a bit more, I wanted to talk about Canopia for this reason, that it sort of blends the two eras of their music together. Makes it an important one in their progression as an artist. Yeah, the biggest song on the album is Life Imitates Life, which got a lot of attention on TikTok, really got Quanic off the ground. Yeah, the first half is more of that electronic digital kind of stuff, and then second half you definitely get the guitars get heavier, the drums get more intense. Specifically looking at songs like Thin, it's very atmospheric. There's a great like guitar solo / drum breakdown, and the rim shots that you hear throughout the song give it like a really cool dark vibe. The song Snarky later on, if you like that song is sort of more the direction they go in their 2023 album, Step Dream. Songs very much like that. The song Stick was the first song of theirs I heard because I'm a big Kamo fan, the feature on the song. This is easily the heaviest song on the album. Those guitars are so loud, so heavy, create such a nice wall, great texture. It just sounds great. Yeah, and then Life Imitates Life, the biggest song on the record. It definitely has a reason why it got so big. Just that first drop into that first hook is so infectious, so strong. And I'm a fan of it. I enjoy this album, and you should check it out.
Yeah, I really like the album too. It's a good, just, I don't want to say easy listen, because it's not necessarily easy, but it's like it's nice on the ears to me. Like it scratches the right
nice
part of the
texturally.
brain. Yeah. Like everything about it just kind of like it's so unnatural that it's natural. I was a really big fan of Sorry Days early on in the album, and then I really like Soil. It's another one of the very popular songs on the album, but again, just we're talking about the texture there. It works really well. Also,
Yeah.
if you enjoy this album and you want to listen to some more Quanic, I am a big fan of his single "Come Down from Above" featuring Dollywood. That song fucking rocks. So highly recommend.
Yeah, and also Sorry Days, that song sounds a lot like something that would be off of Frailty by Jane Remover, another album I talked about early on the series.
Yeah, some ringing endorsements right there. It's not my taste of album, but I can appreciate its craft.
You don't shoegaze?
No, I definitely don't.
Oh, you welcome them with open arms.
But I totally like Kyle. When I was listening to it before the podcast, I legitimately thought to myself in my head, I was like, I bet Kyle fucks with this heavy. And I was right. It's if you liked a lot of the albums Cameron has recommended previously on this podcast, I feel like it's a very similar array area of music. So take that. Thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. We hope you are having a wonderful Friday if you're listening to this on release. If you're listening to it on the weekend, we hope you have a wonderful weekend. If you're listening to it during the week, we hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us ramble about sports, and we will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Blippy.
Carp.